Greetings and good morning, gorgeous people around planet Earth. Breathing in that fresh oxygen. I'm very grateful for having blue skies, having green trees, having clean water, having food to eat. Because, it just shows you choosing your place, choosing your, the place where you feel that you have a peace of mind. It's so important, and I think we can all safely say that we are all appreciating our place and our time and where we are more than ever. Of course, with what's happening in the world, obviously with the whole conflict and the invasion of Ukraine, and not just this, because there's a lot of things that are not reported about that I'm always scoping around to see with world events. And I'm drawn to speaking about a lot of the issues going on in Africa. There's huge drought in Africa. A lot of people from Angola have migrated into Namibia. Have migrated into Namibia because there's no water, there's no food. I read how one man said, as he watched his family dying around him, they literally lived on 4 stalks of grass per day for weeks while they migrated through, and any hour could have been their last. And one paraplegic man crawled 160 kilometers to cross over. Paraplegic, crawling 160 kilometers. I mean, the will to live is extraordinary with some people. And talking about, a lot of the really corrupted mining happening in Africa, especially in the DRC and the Democratic, I wouldn't call it democratic, but the Republic of Congo. People feel very pleased to be driving an electric car. But do you know how your batteries are manufactured and the amount of, conflict and corruption it's taken to get those electric batteries? Electric batteries, one of their main constituents is cobalt. And cobalt is completely, there's so much of it in Congo, and there's so much mining happening in the Congo, mainly run by big Chinese companies that are in charge of these cobalt mines that are absolutely desecrating the environment, creating deformities in children with parents that are working on these mine sites, some for less than £1 a day, are breathing in these noxious and very highly toxic dusts and particles of this cobalt. It's in their water, it's in the air they breathe, it's on the plants they eat. There's so much acidity in their rivers and waterways now. It's unbelievable. And so there's these things that you don't necessarily hear so much about. The microplastic issue in water. When people think of plastic in the ocean, they think of bags and trash, and that's very much real, because what happens is that plastic trash is then degraded and it sinks to the sea floor. And what happens is it breaks down so much and deteriorates that it's microscopic. and you cannot distinguish it between the dust and salt and, you know, all the stuff that would naturally occur in a sea environment. You can't discern it between something natural in the sea that exists, you know, like natively in the sea. You can't distinguish the difference between the plastic, because it's so small, and something natural existing in the ocean. And the problem is that the sheep, I was going to say sheep, the fish are eating the plastic, and this plastic is in then the tissue of the fish. And of course, as humans, we eat this fish, and so this fish is full of plastic, and we are consuming that. And so there's so many big issues happening. Obviously, the conflict happening right now is a major one, because like, we are so past the time for war. This is one man's psychopathic, you know, objective to try and reclaim something that he believes is his. I have no idea of how someone like this can think. And remember, there's always more than what meets the surface. So don't be surprised if he's been influenced from off-world sources. My gosh, I feel like my face is lighting up like a disco ball, because there's all these crystals in the window and the sun is reflecting on them. So, look, anyway, it's just such a shame that such a person can have and wield so much power over the people, and that this is allowed, and that the rest of the world is allowing for this to happen. Not that they are wanting it to happen, but people in positions where they can decide. You know, this all comes back to diplomatic connections and making sure, I mean, everyone seems to be walking on eggshells, because people are concerned that if they completely sanction off Russia and completely 100% help the Ukraine, it could turn into an all-out world war and just, you know, absolutely cause a domino effect. And so there are those that are in a very vulnerable position to try and maintain and leverage some sort of neutrality, because when you have someone as dangerous mentally as Putin and his oligarchical system around him of staunch followers, these are dangerous people, and they are barking out very draconian threats and things about putting nuclear weapons on high alert. And there is no place for nuclear. I've always said it. I don't care if they use it in a energy capacity, whatever. There is no place for nuclear on this planet. And the truth of it is that there is energy available for us, universally. But this is so steeped in these black projects and gray projects that you wouldn't even know that it's freely available. But of course, anything that's free, our world governments will no longer have control over, and they cannot control the economy like they have been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years. For thousands, I should say, because there's always been control on this planet. This planet has been a controlling planet. So although this conflict is happening, you've got to know that there is so much more than what meets the eye, than with what's playing out. And it's a time where we have elected to be here to witness these transformations. And also, please remember that with these events happening, all this darkness, all this heavy, murky, negative energy, it has to come to the surface. It has to be dealt with. The earth cannot shift in frequency withholding this negative, with this negative frequency. It cannot. So this has to be dealt with. And it's messy. It's going to be messy. It is messy now. I mean, look at how the last couple of years have been. This is messy. You know, people being injected with controlled substances, with nanotechnology, and now this. It's going to be messy, people, and it's, you know, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets better. And so you have to hold on tight. You have to know what is most important to you in your life and enjoy what you have now, and prepare yourself mentally and physically and spiritually for what is to come. It's going to be a wild ride. I've said this for a long time. It's going to be a wild ride. And to hold on and really find your place on the planet. Wherever your heart strings are pulled is the place you have to go. Trust in your intuition. My gosh, I'm getting blinded. Sorry. Ah, now it's the glass. So trust in your intuition. Trust in what your higher self is always showing you. Whether you can see it or not is another thing. Whether you can hear it or not is another thing. So a lot of people feel very helpless, hopeless, lost, wondering, you know, where their future lies. Well, you decide that. You can decide that. And as I've said before, previously, if you believe you don't have power, you won't. But you've got to know this is a magical world where you can create the reality that you wish to see in the world. And nothing is out of your grasp. So it is a really wild time, strange time. And so make the most of it. And I know where my heart is drawn. I'm very much drawn to going back to the desert. But I'm also focusing on the here and now. I've got a roof over my head. I've got gorgeous plants around here. My chickens are happy. I've got plenty of water, lots of fruit trees. This is my grandmother's house. So I've definitely had the thought of purchasing this place. Although I'm very much attracted to the wilderness of the desert. And so I think for me it's the more of the inconvenience of having to move, and nobody likes moving and shifting furniture and reestablishing your garden and doing everything from scratch. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, and right now I'm full-time studying, which is a lot of work as well, mentally a lot of work. But the universe is always going to support you. So wherever you decide to be, I think it's important that you find your place. And if that means flying across to the rest of the world, you know, and going, well then do that. You know, it's, and a lot of people actually with the conflict that's happening have decided and remained in the Ukraine. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And it just shows their love for their country and their love for their place in the world is so much stronger than any fear. It's so much stronger than any war, that they are willing to fight for what is theirs. And that's admirable. And that just shows you the fearlessness and the courage and the the pure love that someone has for their home. And they have every right to feel that way and to defend their home. I know it's hard to do, but speaking from a metaphysical perspective, the more we are loathing or hating someone or something, the more that frequency only perpetuates. And so in the example of Putin, if you can, try and extend your love and prayers to him too, that he can see the light, that he can see the light. Pray that he sees the light and stops this tyranny and calms down. You know, let's pray. Obviously, we pray for everybody in this situation, but he is the one instigating all of this. And we must send love to help disperse this negativity and disperse and dissolve this negativity that he is unleashing. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, oh, Andulairah, how could you fucking send such a tyrant, a psychopath, prayers and love? Well, look, this is the way. We have to be forgiving. We've got to see the bigger picture of what we're involved with. We are on earth. We are souls having a human flesh experience. And all these scenarios are playing out. And the bottom line about them is that they are here to help us learn and to evolve and to bring out the best of ourselves. Not everyone understands that, and it can be very hard for people to hear. But we need to send love on that whole environment. And a lot of people feel hopeless, but I'm telling you, the power of love can move mountains. And I did a little Instagram post on my Elnor Instagram page saying this. And there's a picture of the late George King, who was contacted by entities and was shown how to project love, pure love energy, into a battery. And this battery can be put in an area of conflict, and literally all the negativity just melts away and dissolves and minimizes the violence by, anywhere from, I don't want to put a figure on something that could be so magical, but basically take the violence down hugely. You'll be surprised at how much that has an effect on people and the environment around. So not only do the people of the Ukraine need healing and prayers and love, Putin needs a lot of love, because he is so wayward right now that he needs that kind of love to put him on the straight and narrow. I'm sure he's got family members and children that are just like, they're probably too frightened to say anything to him. And pray for the Russians, because there's so many good Russian people. I know them. There's so many people in Russia that don't want this. They don't want this. This is one man's just hell-bent direction that is so wayward. The only way this can be stopped, and I don't want it to be an all-out war. That's the bad way. But the other way is to influence and project good, pure, loving energy and compassion and forgiveness and, thwart this energy. It has to be this way. But a lot of people don't understand the power of energy and the power of intention and the power of thought. So we have to pray for this entire situation and project, not even pray. If you're not a prayer, like someone that prays, just project love, project forgiveness, project an image of you hugging the tyrants, and hugging the Ukrainians, hugging the Russians, like hugging the land. Because remember, the land is energetic as well and is feeling everything. So pray for the land. If you can't pray for anyone, at least pray for the land and imagine yourself hugging the land. You know, because not only are people afflicted with this, animals are afflicted with this, the land, the water, the trees. Just project love into this area. It is just a wild time. So, gosh, you know, that's just some thoughts that I wanted to share. I know there's been a lot of people that have, you know, asked what I feel about it. But I mean, of course, it is what it is. This is Earth in third dimension moving into fourth. And this is the Earth. She's shifting gears. And this has to happen in order to move forward. You know, not even to move forward, but to refine her frequency. And there is going to be some huge shuffling going on. And the human race is on the precipice of extinction. And how this eventuates, I'm not entirely aware. But over the next 20 years, the world is going to be such a different place. And whether you decide to be here and experience that is totally your call. But it's going to be wild. You've got to, the more that this plays out, the more you've got to understand the bigger picture and how you chose to be here and witness or either observe and participate. But it's been your choosing. Nobody forced you to be on this planet. You have to know you are an almighty creation. You're an almighty being made with the most immaculate kind of love and precision and meticulous determination and discrimination. Your being is just, it's divine. There's no other word for it. You are divine. And your choosing to be here was your choice alone. Your more expanded self. So you might not understand it now. You're thinking, holy shit, Andulairah, how could I ever choose to be on a place like Earth? Are you kidding me? Yes, but you did. We all did. But it's just trying to view this perspective with different eyes. Yes, really. And you know, there might be a lot of people that don't like what I have to say. Think, how can you be so stupid? How could you think this? Well, this is the nature of reality. And you and we, all of us, create our own reality individually and collectively. And this is how it is. We've come here to work shit out. We've come here to work stuff out. We've come here to amend karmic cycles. We've come here to perhaps create new ones. We've come here to reconnect with souls that we have had 1,000 lifetimes with already. We've come here to be a part of an example or a situation which brings the best out of us, or perhaps the worst. It's your prerogative. It's your choice. Why? It's a very intimately personal choice why you chose to be here on Earth. But Earth is a great place to do that and to work stuff out. It's a wild place. It's a beautiful place. You've got to remember there are many people on this planet that have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world. Some of our most indigenous native cultures on the planet, they are living within their own isolated bubble deep in the Amazon rainforests and in the high mountains of, Papua New Guinea. You know, you've got the Inuits up in near the Arctic Circle. There are those that have no idea what the hell's going on. And they probably don't care. They're probably happy that the world can go off and do whatever it wants to do. The world is a glorious place, people. So don't lose yourself in what is going on. For me in the West, it's hard to escape this because everyone that surrounds me is always plugged in to what is happening. I get emails from people, I get emails from friends, I get phone calls, you know, from friends. I got one from one of my girlfriends, you know, stressed when this all broke down, when this all broke out, and oh gosh, I'm just like, so it's around me. I'm surrounded. I actually felt more isolated when I lived in the Gulf because my accessibility was a lot more limited, and I love that. But here in this country, it's different. But I like the isolation that the high desert brings me. My home, my point of entry into the world. And so, you know, look, what's happening now is that there's a lot of real estate that's on the market up in that area. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this to happen. So, yeah, it's up to the universe and my higher self now. If this is meant to happen and for me to purchase up there, then I will. If not, well, you know, I'm just going to go with the flow because I'm okay at wherever I'm at, but preferably I'd love to be up there. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's a sacred place, and it's my heart. My heart is up there. I could absolutely live where I am because it's comfortable, but I've never been someone to just be somewhere because it's comfortable. So anyway, just some thoughts and reflections, perspectives on what's happening. Saying hello to you, my Patreon brothers and sisters, and sending you much love and peace. And whatever you're doing, I hope you're also in a place of peace and you're feeling good about yourselves, where you're at. And being thankful for what you have here and now. I think that's very important. Good health, good water, food on the table, fresh vegetables. My gosh, you want to see my tomatoes right now. Just got heaps of them. So it's a little warm. I'm gonna go and cool off. Can you believe it? I mean, we're meant to be in the autumn here now, and it's still hot. I'm just asking the universe to drop the weather, drop the temperature, because I'm over it. I'm over the summer. Never look forward to the summer. I love just because, you know, you can't do anything in the summer. Maybe somewhere else in the world, you know, you can kind of function, probably in England. The summer's probably very nice. The summer in England is probably a mild winter here. Yeah. So, look, I'm very much looking forward to the winter. Sending you my love and blessings all over the world. And may you always be blessed by the supreme truth and love of the cosmos.